You just moved to Alaska, bought a house, and your realtor didn't tell you anything about it. Well, I'm here to fix your problems. This is gonna be a quick, short rant video. I'm gonna get really close and personal, spew a bunch of knowledge your way, and you tell me if it sticks or if it was a waste of your time. Here we go. Comment below if you like this or not, so I can know if I should do more or not. We're gonna keep this one under 3 minutes. Our houses here are fed by boilers. That's how we heat our homes. We have an oil tank outside that feeds into a boiler, which is a box that's usually located in a boiler room or your garage. That creates hot water, and that hot water goes either through your radiant heat floors or your hot water baseboards on the side of your walls. That's how we heat our homes. We also have Toyo space heaters that run off of oil, and we also have oil-fed forced air furnaces. Those are less popular. We're also making a huge push towards natural gas so that you don't have to worry about delivery and you just have it piped straight into your house. That being said, we do not pipe oil into your house. It is a delivery truck that's going to show up about once every 1 or 2 months and just fill up your 3, 5, or 1,000 gallon tank. That's heat. Next up is septic systems. There's a high probability that you're gonna be buying a house outside of city limits, which means the city water system and sewer systems don't reach out that far. So you're gonna be on a well and a septic system. Now, when you buy a house, you're gonna wanna do a well and septic inspection. In fact, most of your lenders are gonna require it. In fact, not only require the test, but require it to pass the Alaska Department of Environmental Conservation rules, tests, and inspections. So what we do is we have that test. It's a perk test, absorption test, water flow test, and E.coli chloroform test. So we wanna make sure your water comes out with enough pressure, 3 gallons per minute minimum. Otherwise, you probably have a well problem. Secondly, we wanna make sure it's clear of E.coli and chloroform. That's an allergen to bacteria that often happens in wells, and we don't want you consuming it because it's not great for you. You have the option of testing for other things like manganese, PCDs, total dissolvable solutions, arsenic, manganese, I think I already said that one, pH, and so much more. So don't feel like you're limited to that, but that is all your lender is gonna require for. That is the E. coli and chloroform. And then we're gonna pump all of that water into your septic system with a bunch of floats and see how long it takes to absorb to see if it passes or fails the test based off of the tank's construction and the leach field's absorption. That's all it is. Pretty simple stuff. I know it sounds overwhelming. If you have more questions and you want me to go in more detail, I can do a whole video on septic testing and the cost of them and when they fail and when they pass and why. But to be honest, no one's really asked me to make that video, so I don't think I'm gonna torture you guys to do so. Moving on to the next point, roofs. Roof shingles. They're the same as the lower 48. They're good for 25 years. But because we're here in the state of Alaska and snow covers our roof about 6 months out of the year, your roof is getting a lot of reprieve from those UV rays. And so that asphalt is not being broken down, dried up and cracking like it would be if it was in Arizona exposed to desert sun constantly, which is why they use a lot of those ceramic tiles. Because of that, our roofs actually last about 30 years. I've heard 32 years. In the end, I want you to remember your roofs are expired at 25. You're probably good to 30 or 32, but if you're a seller and you're anywhere in that 25 to 30,000 or a 30-year range, there's a possibility a buyer's gonna ask you to replace the roof. So know that before you call your realtor and see what you can do to mitigate that. Maybe go ahead and call a roofer and have them do an assessment of the entire roof the summer before you sell, so you have some documentation saying your roof is still in good shape. I got many more tricks and tips like that, but you do have to call me and hire me to get the full content of my toolbox. Other things that we can talk about that are a little bit different. Let's talk about construction. You got 2x4 walls. That's probably pipeline era stuff coming up from the 60s, 70s, and early 80s, back when oil was cheap and construction was expensive because of the lack of people here. So therefore, they built thin-walled homes and just pumped more oil into it to heat them up. Then you got 2x6 homes. These are better structurally and efficiency-wise. But they're kind of the mid-grade because 2x8 is even better, 2 inches thicker. Now, you can always take a 2x6 and put some foam on the outside of the wall, same with a 2x4 and put some foam on the wall, and that should upgrade its R value to the next category up. 2x6 furred out is a 2x8 by efficiency. And the best, and the one I like the most, but we see the least, is double wall construction. This is where you have 2 2x4 walls with an air gap in the middle, creating about a 2x9 wall. But basically that air gap is dead air, which helps keep you warm in the winter and cool in the summer, because you have that air gap between the outside temperature and what you're heating and cooling your house to on the inside. Next up, this one's gonna blow a lot of people's minds. We do not have air conditioning here. So I got a guy who's gonna start installing them permanently. Most people here in town are using portable air conditioners for the short period of time. The good thing about the permanent air conditioners, they also work as a secondary heat system in the winter up to about -20. So if you're interested in some of these products, they're not mine, I'm not selling them, but I'm glad to connect you to my friend and see if he can help you heat and cool your home a little bit more efficiently than an oil boiler will. And other than that, I think I reached the end of this video. I got about 30 more things I want to talk about that's different here in the state of Alaska than where you're at, but we'll save that for the next video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Go in the comments, tell me what I missed, and maybe I'll add it to the next rant. Have a good one.